Okay. All right, looks like we are live on both of the big networks here, YouTube and Facebook. So again, welcome back to day 4 of your Quick Start Bootcamp. And today we're going to continue on with some more nuts and bolts of getting your business started. You know, my outcome here for this first week of your bootcamp is that not only do you have enough distinctions and mindsets to prepare, to really get ready if that's what you're up to, but also to have the basics of the nuts and bolts that you need really clear for yourself so that you can literally get your coaching business started in the first 7 days of this 30-day boot camp. The promise here is that you get your coaching business started in 30 days or less. And I know that I can deliver on that for you if you just play full out. But here, you know, I'm giving you what you need so that in this first 7 days, you can really make sizable progress towards or actually in measurable way get your coaching business started. If you just follow what I'm offering you here in these little mini live coaching sessions that I'm taking video of during this time together. So today, as we have been doing, we have been covering these distinctions, these keys to the locks on the doors of successfully starting your coaching business, that once you use that key, you insert that key, you turn that key, it actually opens another door. So you get to the next room in this labyrinth that you're walking through, wandering through, climbing up that next level in the mountain to the point where you get to the top and you know you're truly started legitimately in this business, whatever that really looks like to you. I've got my own measures that I can share with you. But bottom line is, if you got paying clients, you're in business. If you're doing everything you need to so that paying clients are on their way to you, you're running a business. You're not the most successful business, but still you're started. So today, well, look, last couple days we've been getting into nuts and bolts. We started talking about entry points and some principles around opportunity, finding opportunity, locating opportunity, the who, what, where, all that kind of stuff. A little vague though, like just overview kind of stuff, so you can start parsing through and asking questions and getting some ideas there. Yesterday we talked about the master key to your business, the ultimate basis from which you're going to actually skyrocket your business, which is this thing we call free sessions, or that across the pond they call discovery sessions. Today we're going to look at a key tool that you need to use to kind of organize your process for actually getting those free sessions set, and to bring the kind of the opportunity of the who and possibly the where together with the process of setting those free sessions, the conversation that needs to happen so you can set those free sessions. And I like to call this the hit list. People like to change all sorts of different names and say it's your gold mine list or something like that, but it's just a hit list. It's just the list of the people that you know you're going to be running sessions with, or that they're going to be helping you bring free sessions to you, or a combination thereof. So what is this hit list, and what's it for, and why is it important? Well, first thing is, this hit list is going to, once you put it together and you use it, it's going to guide you in the process of contacting people to set up free sessions. It's just a guide for you on who are you talking to. It helps you track your progress on that journey. So it guides and tracks the process and the journey of contacting these people, setting free sessions. It's just that simple. This list is going to cover the who. Like, who am I supposed to be talking to? Who am I going to coach? You need to make that list. We need to actually have a ground level list of those people. Very, very, very simple. I mean, this is not going to be a long conversation because I just can't cover much more detail other than this is what it is, this is why it's important, this is who you're going to put on your list, and this is what to do with it. I'm going to cover all of that in like the next 10 minutes. Super, super easy to do. And this is like your first step in actually executing on the idea that you have for the opportunity of setting free sessions with the right people to get this business going. It's just really the nuts and bolts that we're talking about here. First step. So we're covering the who on this list, as we just mentioned. And this is also, just to clarify, this is the most valuable list in your business. I mean, you're gonna have all sorts of lists. You're gonna have a to-do list. You're gonna have a list of your websites. You're gonna have a list of videos that you make. You're gonna have a list of programs that you provide, a list of products that you sell, and price lists. There's all sorts of cool lists that you're gonna have in your business, right? It's all sorts of things that you just need to have, a kind of a linear, here's everything, top to bottom, here's the list. This is the most valuable one. This is the most important list in your entire business. Why? Because this list is the list of prospective customers. This is the list of people who you could actually get paid to coach, right? Or that some of which you probably are going to get paid or are already getting paid to coach. This is it. This is where the money's at. People used to say it this way: the list that you have, like your customer list or your prospect list, it's like this magic ATM that whenever your company needs money, you go to that ATM to pull money out. I mean, if you really want to think of it from a money perspective. If you don't like to think of it from a money perspective, just say, hey, this is a magic list that I go to get clients from. This is my client list, right? So I need a client, go to my list. It's just your go-to thing to do, okay? And so the money, the clients, all the opportunity in the world, like just the whole basis for your business, like why do you need a business, a coaching business in the first place? Why are you going to coach? Who are you going to coach? It's all in this list. That's where it's at. You don't have a list, you got no value. You've got nothing of value in your business that truly has a basis for that you could argue has business value. You might tell me, well, Jeff, I have I have these list of resources. I have this book that I wrote. I have these coaching skills. I have these programs that I can run. Those don't have any business value, okay? It's really important for you to get that. Like, I think they're valuable. I'm not saying they're not important. No business value. No business value. Find me a business where you can actually, like, where the value of the business is inside of a seminar they run, right? Or like a coaching method, okay? They don't exist. I mean, take one of the biggest coaching organizations in the world, like Landmark Education or Tony Robbins, right? Or Harv Eker, right? Take a look at all their seminars, their programs, their books and all that stuff. This stuff doesn't have any value. You can't sell that stuff. It's intellectual property. It's intellectual property for sure. But nobody's going to buy that. No business is going to come along and say, hey, Tony, we'll buy your UPW seminar. We'll just buy that from you, okay? Because it's value. Like what you do in that seminar, super valuable. Here's $20 million for that seminar. Will never happen. In fact, that seminar, that UPW seminar, some of you have been to that, it's going to die with Tony. The day Tony Robbins dies, that seminar will no longer exist. Now, people steal the ideas and do different things that they learned in that seminar, I'm sure, because so many people have been to it, right? Seminar dies with Tony. There's no asset there. There's no value there. There's just something he does that's kind of a show. It's kind of exciting. I mean, it makes a difference for people, no doubt. But as soon as he stops doing it, it doesn't have any more value. Okay? And for the most part, the books are kind of in that ballpark as well. I mean, yes, Napoleon Hill is gone. His book still has some value, but you could use it for free. I mean, it's a public domain as well. So, I mean, it's kind of hard. It's hard to argue exactly what the value is. It's basically just what you do with those distinctions that would have value, let's say. So all that stuff that you think is so valuable in your coaching business, your skills, your kind of assets, your website, all this kind of stuff, none of that stuff has any value unless it actually helps you generate a list of customers. So if your website gets customers to sign up for a list of somewhere and you get a list of those people, okay, then that's an asset. But the asset is only valuable because it generates a customer list for you. The UPW seminar that I just mentioned, it's only valuable to Tony's business because it generates lists of customers for him. As soon as that doesn't do that, and it kind of doesn't do it without Tony, basically, like I said, it'll die with Tony. That ceases to be an asset. Really, Tony's the asset because he's generating the customer list. If he didn't do that, he'd be worthless too. He wouldn't be worth anything to that business. I'm not saying he's not worthless I'm not saying he's worthless as a coach. I'm not saying he's no good. I'm saying he has no business value. We're talking business now. We have to get real about this and not just flail around in fantasy land and flail around in things that just don't actually generate real oxygen for the business, cash. Your business doesn't make any cash. You don't really have value in your business. Your business is valued at zero. To the marketplace, to you, maybe it's priceless, right? I'm not talking about what you think it's worth. I'm talking about the marketplace now. That's the arbiter of real business value. Does that make sense? So I don't want to be harsh here, but we also have to clarify, like, there's so many coaches I work with, and they have lots of esoteric ideas of what's important in business. And most of those esoteric ideas don't help them actually make business work. They don't help them to get the business started. They don't help them to generate more business or grow a business. In fact, most of those esoteric ideas actually hold them back. So this is one where you actually see, like, this is real. This is something that has value. It's an asset to your business. This list of customers, list of prospects that you could possibly sign up for coaching. It's the money in your business. It's the customers or the client flow in your business comes from this. And so I have like an online list of tens of thousands of customers, right? Hugely valuable. It's worth tens of thousands of dollars every month to my business. It's where the money comes from. It's where the customers come from that list. If I didn't have that list, who would I talk to? Not like there's 3,000 million people on here that I didn't actually send here to watch this. They're coming from that list. So besides that, if you have an offline list, like most of you will if you're just getting started, you know the people that you might sign up for free sessions. You put them in a list of 20 people or 200 people or whatever it is. Suddenly, you've created this list that has true value for you. Now, it's potential value for the moment because you haven't necessarily started yet, but the value's coming. That's the most valuable list in your business. So make sure you take good care of that list. You generate that list. I'm going to give you one more example, and then we'll get into a little bit more of the nuts and bolts and specifics of this. When I launch a program for the year, that program, we build an interest list. And I send that interest list over to one of my staff who is going to follow up with that list. My staff would not work for me if they didn't get that list from me. The only reason that they work for me rather than me working for them or them working for like Tony Robbins is because I'm going to give them that list of people that they can actually talk to and enroll in my program. So whether you're just a one-man show or one-woman show and you're going to be following up on your list, or if you have a giant team of people as coaches and salespeople that work for you, you got to have a list. You don't have anything if you don't have that list. So build that list. Now you're in business. Now you're capable of being in business at least. So that's it. Customers are in the list. Money's in the list. Now you could. There's one finer point to this. I'll add that the list itself is not really worth anything without the relationship that you have with them. So the assumption here is that you're not making a list of people you have no relation to. We'll get into the nuts and bolts of that in a second, but the reason why that list has value is not because you can list a bunch of people that you like. It's because you've listed people that actually connect to you, that actually know who you are, that actually want to hear from you maybe, right? So there's some caveats here, but that's why that list has values, because it's a relationship. I have thousands of relationships with people over different systems, different technology, different media. And the list of those people is valuable because I've cultivated a relationship with them. And so if you have no relationship with these people, it's hard to argue that you quite have value in that list yet. But it will be, hopefully, the most valuable list in your entire business. Now, the big question that I got to answer to get to the nuts and bolts of how to do this, like what are you going to do to build this list, is who is on this list? We talked about what the list is, why it's important, and how valuable it is. Okay, who's there? Who are you gonna add to this list? I'm gonna give you some criteria, but really, there's only one criteria here. And the criteria is the people that you put on this list, they know you. They actually know you. I don't mean they know you deeply. I don't mean they're your best friend. I just mean they, like, if you called them up and you said, hey, this is, enter your name here. This is Jeff in my case. They would say, or hey, this is Jeffrey Suey. They'd say, oh yeah, Jeffrey Suey. I know you. I know who you are. Right? At least, at a minimum, that's your absolute minimum criteria for building this list. You can't just go on the phone book and take John Smith and put him down, his phone number down, and say, okay, I got a list. John Smith doesn't know you. Disqualified, right? So they got to know you. Everybody that knows you, though, they're on that list. Now, you could say, well, I know some people that don't know me that well. That's okay. If they know you at all, if they would recognize you somehow, even if they haven't talked to you for 20 years, they can be on your list. It's arguable they can be on your list. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So everybody that knows you, put them on your list. That's enough of our criteria. Now I'll give you some optional criteria. Like if you know like thousands of people know you, then you might want to chunk this down to a little bit smaller list so it's contactable, so you don't have so many people that it's burdensome. You don't really need more than like 100 or 200 people on this list. So if you got a couple thousand, okay, let's add some criteria. But if you really only have 50 on that list, 50 people that know you at all on the planet, well, okay, just put those 50 on there. You're good. But here's some other criteria. Ideally, if you're really like a man or a woman about town. So the second criteria, optional. These people like you. Okay, they know you, that's great. But hey, if they like you, I want to be talking to them because they really want to take my call. They really want to hear from me. Like I've got some rapport with them. Wonderful. They like me. So that's optional though. Third criteria, again, optional. They trust you. Some people like people and they don't trust them, right? But if you know this person really puts stock in what you say and who you are and more than just likes you, well then great. They should definitely be on your list for sure. And then finally, fourth criteria, this one's also optional. You have their contact information, right? I mean, you want to know that you can actually contact the person that you have on their list. So you put their name and then you put like their number, their email, all that kind of stuff, right? Put their contact information down, assuming you have it. Again, that's optional. Maybe you just know who they are and they know you, but you lost their number, you lost their email. Okay, well, you can find that. There's all sorts of easy ways to find people's contact info nowadays. Okay, so that's optional. But the ideal is you have a list of like 100, 200, 300 plus people, minimum like 50 or 60 that know you, like you, trust you, and you have their contact information, preferably their email and phone number, minimum. Okay, you got their Facebook and all that other stuff, that's bonus too. Make sense? That's it. So make your list of those people, and then you're gonna sort this list. You want to sort the list in order of comfortability. Is that a word? Comfortability. I made this word up probably. Okay, so it's comfortability. How comfortable are you to contact each person on that list? If you're totally comfortable, you could contact them right now without like any kind of getting yourself psyched up to talk to them. Then they're at the top of your list. If it's it's going to take something, you haven't talked to them for a while, and you kind of don't know what exactly is going to come up, but you could contact them, but you're not like totally confident in the process of contacting them. It's going to be like, hi, is this, I wasn't sure if I could call you, it's like that kind of thing. Okay, they're a little lower down. They're kind of in the middle of your list probably. And then at the bottom, you've got, oh my God, if I contact this person, I will pee in my pants. I'm so frightened of them. Like, I don't know if I could ever call them. They're so intimidating. I'm so scared. Maybe they'll just tell me to go away. It's the president of so on and so forth. And it's just very intimidating. If anybody like that would be at the bottom, right? Like, save them for later. So you've got the top, the people you're like, can't say no to you, easy to call, no problem. Middle is, I could still talk to them, but it's a little concerning. At the bottom, there's no freaking way I'm going to call them. They're at the bottom of your list. Okay, so you're sorting these people that know that know you, like you, trust you, and you have their contact information in that order of comfortability of contact. Okay, so that's it. That's what you're going to do to prepare this list. Might take you a couple hours, might take you a week to do it. Do it as fast as you can, because you don't want to just make a list. You want to actually do something with your list. But you have to have the list. I mean, you got to have something there. Okay, so quick and dirty, maybe an hour you make the list. You can keep working on it over time. I wouldn't take like a week to make your list. A couple days you should be good. Okay, so it doesn't take a lot of time. Just go into whatever contact list you already have, dredge it up, put everybody that knows you down there, and then sort it for comfortability, and you're good. Now you got your list. You're in beautiful shape. Okay, final piece. And we've really covered the basics of what I'm asking you to do like now. If you are really following this along and you want to get your coaching business started in 7 days rather than 30, then do this today. Do this now. Do this while we're talking, okay? But this is what you're going to do with the list once you've made it. Okay, then this is the secret that no one, even if they know it, they don't do it, okay? So don't tell anybody this. But once you've got this list, I'm going to give you the secret to actually getting your coaching business started and ultimately getting clients as well over time. And this kind of plugs into the master key that we talked about yesterday, the free session key. So here it is. Here's the secret. Call these people. Call them. You're going to call the people on your list. I hope you can hear me on YouTube. I'm kind of whispering now. It's like I don't want anybody to know this. It's such a secret. You're going to contact / call the people on this list. That's it. That's what you're going to do. And you're going to do it if you really want this business started, and this is the destiny that you've chosen, and like you're not going to take no for an answer on this one. You're not just going to fool around and stay in fantasy land like a lot of most coaches do. You're going to do this 3 to 5 hours a week. 3 to 5 hours a week. Okay, so let's say you work 40 or 50 hours in a week, right? You're doing all sorts of great stuff. Can you stand it? Could you survive if you just said, okay, today, like this morning, I'm going to take an hour and a half. I'm going to just call people. Call. And then after that, whoever I didn't get a hold of, I'll like email them, let them know I called them as well. And then the next day, like tomorrow, I'm going to do that again for another hour and a half, like minimum, okay? Just pick up the phone, call. No breaks, right? Or if you take a break, pause the timer. Hour and a half, like real, actual time. Start your stopwatch, you're on the phone. You're checking to see the next person that you're going to call. It takes you a minute to do that. You're back on the phone. That's what you're doing. You're not just leaning back and saying, I wonder who I should call next. No, you don't need to do that. You got your hit list. Stop thinking about who you're going to call. They're at the top of your list. If you already called them, then you go to the next one. You don't have to think at this point. We've gotten rid of the thinking by making the list. Now you call. Now it's no more, like I think we talked about this distinction a little like last week in the T- whatever. That talking and acting are two very different things. And the thinker, what is this? Doer just says you're the doer, not the thinker. You're not like pondering calling people. You're just calling them. If you can do that for 3 hours this week, then I have no doubt you're going to have a successful coaching business eventually. If you're any kind of coach at all, okay? Unless coaching is just like not for you at all, which very few people that's the case if they're really serious about it and they're willing to study and they're willing to work and they're willing to become a great coach. 5 hours is even better, but you don't have to necessarily do 5 hours. I mean, you may need to do 5 hours a week. I mean, I got away with 3 or 4. I feel like I'm a really great coach. I had a good contact list of 40 to 50 people. Didn't have 1 million, but I had some people on that list. And I didn't do more than 4 or 5 hours a week ever. And it was more like 3 hours most weeks, right? And it took me a couple of years to really get things rolling to the point where I was making really good money as a coach. But I got started in a month or so. I really did, okay, in that time period. So maybe you got to make 5. Maybe you got to really hammer away at like 7 or 8. Like if you really suck and you really have a lousy contact list, okay, 7 or 8 hours. That's like one work day. Split it over 5 days and do, an hour and a half a day, 2 hours a day. You can hold your breath for that long, okay? But the secret here, I gotta start whispering again. The secret here is 3 hours at least, minimum. That's your rule from now on, at least during the boot camp, until you get started and you decide that you're just gonna go on your own, do whatever you want. It's 3 hours. If you didn't do 3 hours, you lost the game. Maybe you played full out still. You just didn't get your 3 hours in. Okay, that happened to me many weeks, okay? It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you or something wrong with your business. It's just, look, I lost the game this week, okay? But 3 hours, secret, 3 hours minimum per week calling your hit list. Call, not text message, not email. That's all passive stuff. The more proactive communication you do, the better. So calling is like you really meant to talk to them. Emailing is like, well, I don't know, they're probably just going to go to spam. They won't even see it. Text is like, it's proactive to some extent, but people can skip. People can skip your text messages or your DMs and stuff. I'm not saying don't do that stuff. I'm just saying don't include it in your 3 hours. Your 3 to 5 hours is pick up the phone and talk to people. Leave messages if you must, but it's an actual conversation with real people in real time, not little messages going over the internet, right? That doesn't count. Sorry, that doesn't count. Okay, so 3 to 5 hours, secret. Call for that amount of time every week, proactively, effectively. Do the best you can. And look, and by the way, I don't know if I didn't even say this, all you do during that time that you're calling these people is you're asking them to do free sessions with you. That's it. You're just signing them up for free sessions. They're a yes or a no or a maybe. That's fine. You can always call them later, but you're just signing them up for free sessions. That's what you are doing. Now, some people you may not want to do a free session with. You might just want to get referrals from or do joint venture partnerships with. That's different. We won't talk about that right now. But mainly all you're doing here is setting up free sessions with the people on your hit list because they're the people that are going to become your clients. Okay. Now, if you're thinking, well, I don't want that person to be a client. Okay, exceptionally speaking, you might be able to do that with a few people, okay? And that's your choice. But if you do that with half your list, now you're in trouble. I don't like what you're up to, and there's a problem here. Okay, you're eliminating too many people on your hit list. We got problems, okay? If you're not willing to call a fair amount of the people that you know that like you and trust you, and you're gonna be in business, let's not lie to ourselves. You just aren't serious about this. You're putting your comfort priorities or your social priorities, you're putting something else above your business. So fine, but just admit your business is subject to some other things in your life. Your business is not your number one priority. And don't expect a lot from that then. There's not a lot of successful businesses out there, or even businesses that got started for people that made it 4th and 5th and 6th on their list. No, that doesn't happen. I don't know who told you that. They're not being they're not being honest with you about it. This is your priority, right? So let's act like these people are. We got to be serious. We're going to coach anybody we can, okay? And you can make some exceptions. I totally get that. But 3 to 5 hours a week, calls. Ask them to sign up for free sessions or get referrals or get some kind of business going. Set breakfast with them. Whatever you got to do. That's what you're doing with those 3 to 5 hours a week with your hit list. That's it. Not complicated. I don't have anything else to say, I don't think, on the basics. Just do it. If the only other thing I could do is what magic thing do I need to say so that you'll actually do that during the boot camp for the next 30 days, every single week. You do that every single week for 4 weeks, you're going to get a client. You do that every single week for 4 weeks, you're at least going to have a business. You will be in business. Now, and obviously getting a client, there's some pricing issues there, and we will talk about that later. But this is the basics. This is tool number 1, action number 1 to do. More proactive, the better, like I said. Now, again, with technology these days, you can reach almost anyone. So if you call them 2 or 3 times and you don't get them, email them, Facebook them, DM them on Instagram. Find their, text them, do all that other fancy stuff too. But again, what I'm saying is just to be honest with yourself and me in this coaching relationship, don't make that, like, you might spend 2 hours like DMing people. Don't add that to your 3 to 5 hours. That's not part of your 3 to 5 hours. That is not what I'm talking about. Now you're not prospecting anymore. Okay? So you do 3 hours of calls, and then you do 50 hours of DMs for all I care. You still only do 3 hours in this realm, in the hit list distinction, if you will. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So proactive for 3 to 5 hours, and then do all your other fancy communications in the background. Do it at midnight when you got nothing else to do. That's cool. It's great. It's going the extra mile. More power to you. And phone calls, that's what this is. This is about you talking to people. Like, the way that you coach people is by talking. You don't coach people through DMs. You don't coach them by, I've coached people a couple times via text, but for the most part, we're coaching in actual conversations, okay? So let's get the ball rolling by actually having a conversation with people live. Okay, that's what makes a difference. Nobody's going to respond to every once in a while somebody's going to respond to your email and your DM and your text messages and stuff like that. But for the most part, people are really going to respond when they know that you're serious about talking to them, which means you called them, left them a bunch of messages, and you don't stop calling. Okay, that's the secret. Okay, it's doing that 3 to 5 hours a week. So start this week. That's your marching orders. If you can get to that before the end of this week, you're so high up in the realm of coaches. So few coaches are going to do that. Okay, so let's make this boot camp successful for all of us by all getting behind doing that for real. And then anything that gets in your way, any fear, any laziness, any issue, any conversation, any family member, any friend, any engagement or prior thing that you got scheduled, give them no quarter. Get with your coaches and work out a plan to suffocate those things, not your family, but you know what I mean, like to get those things out of your way, out of your field of view for 3 to 5 hours this week. 3 to 5 hours you could do, everybody's got 3 to 5 hours in a week out of hundreds of hours, 100 hours in a week, I don't know, 24 times 7. Yeah, that's over 100 hours, isn't it? Yeah, it's over 100 hours, okay? So you got 3 of those. That's like 2% of your week that you can do. Okay, so find that this week and give no quarter to anything getting in your way unless it's going to really hurt other people in a way that we can logically say is not okay. Okay, so you want to operate ethically, but besides that though, make this a priority and act like you're committed to it. Because I know that if you're committed to your business, that you'll be committed to this. If you're not committed to your business, then this is going to be something you just didn't get around to. And then lo and behold, you didn't get your business started and you don't have any paying clients. And I guess that just wasn't for you, or I guess it's just not your time, or some other excuse or explanation that is just useless. That just stuff is just useless for you. Suffocate that stuff and get on top of this. That's it. That's your hit list. So get on your hit list. You know the rest. Get in touch with me if you need help with any of this stuff. But I hope that's simple for you because it's really, really simple just from what I see. And when I did this and I started getting on that, that's when my coaching business actually got started. And the clarity of what I do each day in my business to make business happen was just a no-brainer then. And any coach that I work with that's worth their salt, that actually has a real coaching business, they do the same. I don't know one coach that doesn't, in some way, shape, or form. And it gets more advanced as you go. Eventually the list is automated and all this cool stuff. You don't have to call them up personally. But for now, for the next couple of years, this is it. This is the real work that you do in your business. If you can do this, you can't lose. Take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow.